with certain series like BDC and stuff like that, you need a license to actually prove yourself to be in the competition. That was the hard thing about commentating. Figuring out to say the same thing, but a different way. So it doesn't sound repetitive.
Drip and Drift.
Welcome back, guys. I am Nick. This is the Drip and Drip podcast. We definitely got a new setup today, some new mics, and a new type of guest. He is not only the commentator for US Drift Circuit, he is the voice of Super Drift Virtual, ASC, and CNDS. Please welcome Tiny, a.k.a. the instructor. Thanks for being here, man.
What up, man?
Chilling, man. Thanks you could come out and be here. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude. We've been trying so hard to actually, meet up at events, but it's been crazy, especially with Fuel Fest.
Yeah. So Fuel Fest just happened last week, and there was quite a few people I wanted to meet up and link up with, and it was so hectic. Didn't get to see it, but you had fun. I had fun.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't drive, I still had a blast.
It was funny. I messaged you. I'm like, yo, you didn't say what's up. And you're like, you're stuck in the booth all day. I'm like,
yeah. And it's not like a booth right there. It's a booth
I'm all the way in Narnia.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. But definitely a good event.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Biggest event I ever done.
Yeah, biggest event I've ever been to for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Walking through those front gates all the way to the pits in the back, I felt like I was walking through an amusement park. All right, when am I going to get to the ride that I want to go to?
Yeah. And that line, when you're up there in the booth, me and Alec, we were actually looking. He's like, "Oh, look at that line," and I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, that's just people coming off the ramp." And then I turn around and I forgot the right turn, and I'm like, "Holy smokes!" The whole line going through.
Yeah.
And they needed police cars and everything to.
Yeah, the traffic was wild out there. For sure, man. So, commentating, announcing, you obviously kind of have to be into cars a little bit to get into that. So, how'd you, get into cars and transition that into announcing and commentating?
How to get into cars was mainly, so I'm from Jersey, and my dad actually used to street race in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And he would do now we would call it toge.
Yeah.
But he would be in a Fiat just hauling tail. My mom told me that in one of his accidents, he hit a pole and then shattered his whatever. But anyway, I got into cars through my dad.
Yeah.
He brought me to Englishtown when it was a drag strip. And so I used to go there, watch jet cars, and enjoy it. But drag didn't really tickle my fancy because some of the drivers there, they're awesome. But then when you're trying to get to know about the cars, they're kind of hesitant at times.
Yeah.
And then back in Forza 1, I'm dating myself, Forza 1 and Need for Speed, most Underground 2, when Xbox Live started popping, I started getting into drifting and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, let me check this out. And then D1 GP was out, and I started falling in love with it. So that's where I first fell in love with cars.
Yeah.
It's funny, the guys in ACS always give me crap because I'm a Dodge fan.
Mm-hmm.
I love Dodge. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm a Sam Houbinet fan.
Yeah.
But they say, oh, you're just a takeover kid. I'm like, no, dude. I love Dodge way before that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's how I am with cars. You saw me roll up in my Challenger.
Yeah.
It's a V6, but hey, gets me to a point A and point B.
Looks good.
Yeah, it looks good. And whenever someone gives me crap about having a V6 Challenger, I tell them I've done more manlier shit than them.
Which that I'm sure in your past you have. Yeah, man. So how'd the announcing come about? It was accidental, or it was the online first, right? It was the sim drift.
It still was accidental. Yeah. The ACS guys, dude, they're awesome. And they wanted to do an event. And they're like, oh, who wants to do the commentating? And I'm in the Discord, and I just talk and have a good time. Yeah. And they're like, we'll have Tiny do the commentating. I'm like, okay, we'll do it. And so randomly, it was funny because they gave me a time. I was working as a firearms instructor then. And I'd literally cut it to the end, literally 1 minute left because I had to walk my dogs. I had an hour commute from work and back. And they were freaking out. And I'm like, just start the stream. I'll be there. And then as soon as 11 o'clock at the dot or 10 o'clock at the dot, You hear, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SimWorld Drift Series. And they're like, okay, there he is. We want him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So ACS was the first one.
Yeah, ACS. And then it went to Super Drift UK, which is now Super Drift Virtual.
And for people that don't know, it's sim drifting. It's Assetto? Because I use ACS. That's basically the only servers I use.
Awesome.
So it's sim drifting servers specifically that have different maps. But ACS is just the servers, right? Those different names like CNDS.
CNDS, yeah.
That's a different server.
Those are series.
So,
yeah, CNDS is Concept Drift Series. So they just now announced that they're making their own like licensing kind of there. Because on virtual wise, it's crazy. So I knew like from like Pro-Am to Pro 2 in Formula Drift, you need a license to get there. With certain series like BDC and stuff like that, you need a license to actually prove yourself to be in the competition.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So there's some other comps that the winner of the comp would get their pro license, pro sim driver license to get in there, which is insane, but it also tells a story at the same time. These guys are grinding. Yeah. Like tomorrow, I have a comp that I'm commentating IVDC, and I have to wake up at 6 a.m. because it's a comp in Russia.
Oh, wow.
So I'm commentating their comp, and it's just having a good time. But there's a lot of pro drivers there. There's actually one of the guys from the Russian Drift Series helps run it. So I was like, holy smokes, this is cool. Yeah. And they're doing actually different maps. They did Moscow last track, and that was actually an insane track, fun to watch.
Yeah. RDS is wild, man. They got some gnarly drivers and tracks.
A-Tron is insane.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite tracks.
Yeah. Dang, man. So you just doing that for how long were you doing that on virtual before you got into US Drift Circuit and in real life events?
So I ran into Alec. Alec was in the Discord. We got linked up somehow. I forgot who. And so I'm talking to Alec, and they're like, oh, we want a co-commentator. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm like, I'll be the co-commentator. And they knew he was US Drift Circuit. I knew of them. Like, I knew, all right, this is where they have Pro-Am has to go to FD. Same with the other events. And so me and Alec, I'm like, I was nervous to commentate with Alec because it was just more of like, all right, this is my first time with a partner. And I'm like, hey, what do I need to do? And then he gave me the little checklist. He's like, this is what we're going to do. We'll be fine. Just be you. Afterwards, I'll let you know what to improve on. And then after that was back in, I want to say maybe February, March area of last year. And then I was already planning on moving down here. My sister lives down here. I'm actually going to school down here.
Cool.
And there's a better way of life. I'm tired of the cold up there. So then I moved down here in July. I went to Alec's wedding, met with Chris Jackson, so on and so forth. And then the August round was my first comp. And it was great because I was nervous, but the ACS guys were like, we're going to fly down to see your first comp. I'm like, you're going to make me even more nervous. But they were awesome. They were there. They were like, hey, we got your son. We'll watch him and while doing the comp. And it was a crazy experience.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, I cramped.
And then it was just every event after that, you were there.
Oh, yeah. I was there. They will let me know. Like, hey, you there? I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. I want to tell your guys' story.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing about it.
Sick, man. Dang. So what are the going forward with US Drift Circuit this year? Just hitting every event. Do you have any other events like that this year that you have lined up?
So I actually, you know how people say like just sometimes stuff falls on your lap at times. I did the Monster Comp with Drift HQ, and there's a funny story. I didn't know who. Like, remember I was saying like names and faces?
Yeah. No,
of Duarte. Didn't know who he was.
Right.
But during the Monster Comp, he was in front of me the whole time, and I was thinking he was just a spectator. And I'm getting him involved in everything. Yeah. And then afterwards, and they were like, hey, Duarte, enjoys your announcing. I'm like, where was he? Like, he was in front of you, dude. I'm like, nah, man, you lying. And watching the videos back, all the guys in ACS, they're like, yo, there's the Duarte. I'm like, are you serious? That's the dude?
Yeah.
So, yeah, going on forward, no, Drift HQ is going to be doing an event. They already are working on the details for Orlando Kart Center. I'll be doing. I'm going to be doing the US Drift Circuit events. Now the when this podcast is out, probably people are going to already know about the hot pit.
Right.
So yeah, I'm the voice of the line, in the track layout on hot pit. I do like a virtual kind of like drift line, and I voice over it, try to get people hyped for it. A lot more other things. I'm just enjoying the ride, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, it was accidental, fell in your lap, and just ride the wave, and you enjoy it. So. Oh
yeah, it's fun.
And people enjoy you announcing, and like you have a good energy, and it's fun. Like.
It's funny. I don't like. I get surprised every time when someone says that.
Yeah.
I'm like, really, dude? Like, awesome. Like, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I feel like you got that energy, that spirit. It's high energy, but I feel like it's authentic. It's not necessarily like you're trying so hard to be that guy. It's
that's
like
one thing.
It comes natural to you, I feel like.
Yeah, that's actually how it was as a firearms instructor. So I was telling you earlier when we were sitting down and talking that I do like a hat tip to people that I enjoy their energy and their vibe, like Jared, the Oh Mercy that I say. Trevor Bauer, he's one of my, like, he's an awesome pitcher in baseball. And in his content, he yells doors. So that's where doors came from, doors baby. When I was a firearms instructor, I used to yell pump it, send it. And it was like a release of energy because I was dealing with a negative part of my life at that time. And that release of energy is just what got everybody up and amped up.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, dude, that's tiny. Let's get it. So,
dude, that's good. That's inspirational, man. Because like everyone can relate to dark times in their life, whether they're going through it currently or that they've been through it or in the future. I mean, we don't know what the future has for us. So.
Oh, yeah. It's one thing, like, whenever people, and then it goes even with drifting. That's what I love about it. It's therapy to me. Watching it or even learning about these guys' story. Some guys, and what I've seen in virtual, I don't see it much in the real world, but in virtual, they'll beat themselves up so much if the judges say, oh, no, you lost that battle. And my favorite quote I used to tell people as a firearms instructor, everybody got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. Mike Tyson, my favorite boxer of all time. And I tell him, like, take that punch in the mouth and figure out what not to do to get punched in the mouth again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think it also may come from just knowing I also play video games and like that raging that comes with video games.
Yeah.
And then being in person, you can't necessarily have that, like, you look like a little brat if you're, like, throwing your helmet and, like, I should have been it's like, no, like you said, be a man, learn from your mistakes, and, like, get better. There's a reason you lost. Like, not everyone is biased and, like, not wanting you personally to win. Like, it's not always about you, you know?
It's a judged motorsport.
Yeah.
And everybody has been judged since day one of your life.
Yeah.
Middle school, high school, all that stuff.
And everyone judges differently, too. Like, yeah, there's special things you like seeing versus what I like seeing. And,
of course.
Yeah, when you have different judges and different mix it, and also different, there's criteria now for, like, judging and things, right? So
yeah, it's was line. Well, FD was, we're kind of like,
they had that X factor. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. Whenever it's line, angle, speed, and X factor, right?
Yeah.
Those four. Yeah, those four. X factor is like the oh mercy moments, and I'm like, oh, that's crazy. But how do you really judge it? Is it really style, or is it like oh, I can't believe he pulled that out of his tail end? But I like, whenever I watch a competition, I always like a commitment.
Yeah.
And seeing a driver commit and lock in and just throttle all the way through.
Yeah.
oh, that gives me chills. That gets me
Yeah.
amped up. And then even if you have a chase driver doing the same thing,
Yeah,
that's how
minimal
you
corrections. Yeah,
bro. That's how you get me riled up.
Yeah.
But whenever you see like the little bobbles, and I think some of the virtual drivers are like, dude, you're awesome for doing that, because when I'm doing it virtually, it gives me the practice, but it also gives me the opportunity to kind of analyze the whole thing going on. As a commentator, yeah, it's great to hype people up, but there's some people that are watching that's never seen drifting before.
Right.
So you got to kind of explain it
Yeah.
in that sense. And at times, it sounds repetitive over multiple rounds and rounds and rounds. So that was the hard thing about commentating. Figuring out to say the same thing, but a different way. So it doesn't sound repetitive.
Yeah, I could see. Yeah, that's a skill in its own for sure, dude.
Dude, like you're saying, all right, he's initiating into the first turn, all right, staying in the mid, it's a high line, or saying, hey, he's in the first turn, filling out the whole zone, or he's Scandinavian flick into the first turn.
Right.
Like, I'm like, oh my God. Like, so many words.
Yeah.
Brain
say
hurts.
The same thing again. Yeah.
Mm.
But hey, man, you seem to do it well. So
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's wild. I enjoy it. And then a lot of people, and you know what? I don't think anybody's ever asked you, who's your favorite FD driver?
That's hard.
You're gonna be on blast on all your social medias.
No, because I do like style stuff.
Yeah.
So it is gonna. I mean, I definitely like Chelsea. I definitely. Now I'm blanking. Get Nuts. Was it Hawaiian dude? Now I feel like an idiot.
You're gonna put a picture of him.
Oh my God.
We know his name.
Yeah, dude.
I'm not figuring it to you.
I can't believe I'm blanking like this. I wasn't expecting this question. No.
You got a commentator on the podcast. I'm
Yeah,
gonna ask
dude,
that question.
You do. Forrest Wang. Now it's going to Forrest Wang. Dude. Oh, yeah? He's your favorite? You can't remember his name? Yeah, well, I'm thinking about asking the question. No. But yeah, dude, I like that. It's also hard for me because as much as like style things, it's not necessarily, I don't love as much FD stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I really like watching her. I really like watching Animal Style.
Okay.
I like watching like some D1 stuff, some of those older guys, Nakamura and those things. So that's kind of where I get my influence, not necessarily like current pro stuff, but I mean, I've been to plenty of FD events, so I can't say that I'm not interested in it or into it at all.
Nakamura is a gangster.
Yeah.
Gangster.
Yeah, dude. Like that type of, and he's one of the guys that's out here still doing it.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
A lot of those dudes that I'll look up or see clips of, and then I try to find like that were in Japan, late 90s, early 2000s, aren't necessarily doing it much anymore. Although some are, but you know, he's one of those few that like are still coming here to the States to do events and like still pushing it, dude. Like hopefully I never stop doing this stuff. Like I'd love to be, 60 years old throwing a car around.
I could see Travis Pastrana. He's doing rallycross.
Yeah.
What stops him from going into drifting after? But he's been able to adapt to different things.
A lot of the extreme sports guys. I mean, I know a lot of people say BMX and skateboarders transition into drifting, and I was a skateboarder myself, and like a lot of the guys BMXers, but even like pro level guys like Bucky Lassick and like some pro BMXers have gone into rally and like motorsports just because after, I guess, hurting yourself for so long doing those types of extreme sports, you still need that crazy adrenaline rush, but I guess in a safer manner.
Yeah, for sure. And that's crazy. Like you were saying, one of the teams I brought up the other day was the Drift Monkeys. Like, they were my favorite team of all time. Yeah. Norwegian, Scandinavian guys just shredding. They also had cool liveries of space monkeys with a katana. I'm like, oh, that's so awesome. But I miss those liveries, dude. Like a lot of the liveries now is tribal.
Yeah. A lot of tribal.
You don't have like character.
Yeah. Tribal with like the logo on top of. And I get it because it does still look cool, but it is. I think things need to be reinvented a little bit in that aspect for sure.
Yeah.
Liveries and stuff like that. So it's more creative stuff. But also people gravitate toward people that don't know about drifting gravitate towards those tribal livery cars. You know, like they are the spectacle of events and things. So
yeah,
it's hard to say. You said you got a sim yourself. Are you planning on one day drifting yourself and everything?
Actually, funny thing is, my son and I, when we first moved here, I bought a house over here, and then I'm like, all right, we'll get a project car, and so eventually we'll get there. But I'd never want to compete.
Yeah,
I want to be the voice, but also if there's no need for an announcer, let me shred with you guys and have some fun.
Yeah, fun events for sure.
And the sim, it's been helping me out. I've been practicing a lot with Jeff Jones and Rome's virtual driver, Kyle Mohan's virtual driver, a bunch of the guys in ACS. They've been helping me out a little bit, little by little. And even I just enjoy having fun with it and putting on the vehicle. I went full blown. I went from controller to 15 Newton meter wheel, direct drive wheel, rig, and VR.
Wow.
And the first, Rome's virtual driver, he's like, hey, have a bottle of water. So his virtual driver is Dustin Clemens. He's actually planning on possibly going pro-am.
Okay.
But he was like, have a bottle of water. I'm like, man, no, I'm fine. The machismo attitude from the military. And it's like, I recommend it. The first 15, 20 minutes, I'm like, all right, I need some water. But then I just fought through it, and I'll be on that sim rig for 4 or 5 hours when my son's in school and just ripping.
Wow. I got to be an hour, not tops, but around an hour is when my skill starts dropping. Watching the screen so close and trying to be so focused all the time. Because when I first got it, it was more like a game to me. And now I try to treat it more learning things from sim to transfer over IRL. And I can't be on it past that because then I just start lacking hard.
I get into so it happened actually the same thing with the commentary. I get into I need to fine tune. I need to fine tune every day.
Yeah. And
so when I got onto sim, when I first got into it, I picked it up pretty well, because I knew the techniques and everything. I brought back the old Drift Bible back in the day. But I think within 20 hours of on the sim, I was able to link a track. And I'm like, all right, cool. But then most of my hours on Seto are me on a mic. So whenever my son's in school, I'll be on the sim trying to practice. And I always find out some little things, little kind of corrections I need to do. Left foot braking is hard for me. Got thick thighs. They like to squish some parts. I have a joke with Rari. I'm like, I don't left foot brake because it's too big. But we have a joke about that. I always joke around with a lot of the drivers. I'm like, never left foot brake, just full throat. But I know you need it at certain occasions. I like to tease them a little bit about it.
I've been using it for sure. Getting better with it. But yeah, man. I really appreciate you coming by. Plan on stopping by whenever, dude. We could do this again sometime. It was definitely fun.
It was awesome.
Drop a comment for a question we should ask the next guest we have. And we'll catch you next time, fam. Peace.